Back on Sports 225, where my coughing fit is like semi-subsided, but I got some water, so we ought to make it better. William Broussard is here. He is the Southern University Athletic Director. We talked football last segment. Hoops was a fantastic surprise for you. Roman Banks has just done a great job. Just seemed to have an athletic, well-coached team. And then, like you said, almost beat Gonzaga. I mean, I thought you guys were going to win that game.
Well, they were a hair away. You know, if you look at, if you put yourself, if you want to talk about where you'd like to ideally be going into the last 90 seconds of a game, if you're tied with the number one team in the country, you know, you like your odds. And it literally came down to the last two possessions on each side. You know, they hit a miracle fall-away three-pointer from a guy who I don't think had hit a shot the whole rest of the second half. We come down, we rim one out, you know, which would have tied the game up. They come down, hit another one, and, you know, we come down and we put up a desperation when it doesn't fall. But, you know, if we trade those out, they hit one and we hit one, we're going to overtime. And the entire crowd had rallied behind Southern. You know, there was a lot of questions. There were a lot of questions about the legitimacy of Gonzaga's number one overall seed.
Right.
And I think a lot of people there were hoping for the upset.
And America loves the underdog.
That too. Especially the longer the game it goes.
Right, always, but especially in the NCAA tournament, and especially when, you know, the little tiny Southern University team playing, you know, Gonzaga, which is
So yeah, it was. But where it was also beneficial to us is you know what Roman kept telling the players, what Coach Banks kept telling the players, and what I keep telling everyone about what I think our potential is as a program is, where was Gonzaga 10 years ago? Where was Gonzaga 15 years ago? They were a team that would occasionally emerge from the West Coast Conference as a champion, go in as a 14, 15, 16 seed in the tournament, bow out in the first round. And after 10 years of investment, now some of that investment came from the university. Some of that investment came from increased season tickets being bought. Some of that investment came from private fundraising. But if you commit to it, you know, and can get yourself on a string of where you become the team that's going to represent your conference every year, or you're going to be in the postseason every year making that splash, they're not going to keep putting you in the 16 seed. They're going to give you a shot at a 15, at a 14. And if you're able to build the kind of schedule that boosts your RPI, where your RPI is in top 150, top 125, now you're a 13, you're a 12. And 12-5 is a sweet spot.
Always.
You know, that's the one where you got the strongest mid-major teams playing the below median big conference teams. It's easy pickings. That's a 500 proposition every year. Two of those 12s are going to be 12.
It's crazy how it happens.
That's the sweet spot to get to. So this was year one, you know, and we want to in a 5-year plan, which is why we extended Coach Banks for 5 years. We want this next 5 years about us building that sort of momentum to where we're not playing for a 16 seed 5 years from now. We're playing for a 14, for a 13 seed, and trying to get out of that first round and penetrate deeper into the NCAA tournament.
Well, it'll be really exciting. I mean, as a big basketball fan, and to see what Johnny Jones is doing at LSU and the enthusiasm wrapped around that program again after something that hasn't been there. And then like the last game I went out to at Southern was when Avery Johnson came back. And of course I covered Avery when he played there. I think 87, 88 was his last team. Boy, you talk about a good team. They had Kentucky on the ropes. They were a 116 taking Kentucky all the way to the limit. But that day there were a lot of fans at the F.G. Clark, and the enthusiasm still remains fantastic. The student body loves good basketball.
Yeah, they do.
You know, there's always a really good core group of a few hundred kids who just love coming out there and seeing the game. You know, which is really neat. It was heartwarming for me to see. You know, well, that hasn't been lost.
And the you know, the ceremony was excellent. You know, retiring his jersey and naming the court after him. You know, we were able to recognize, you know, a lot of alumni who were there as well. The students got really excited about it. It was one of the bigger events they had seen on campus probably in a long time in terms of seeing that arena be filled.
And he wrote you a check so you can name the floor after him too, right?
Yeah, actually, this was us kind of following up on a gift that he had committed to several years ago where you know, naming the floor after him, and this kind of completed that recognition process. So it really was a home run, you know, in a lot, or a slam dunk, I guess more appropriately, in a lot of ways for us, and it really just kind of catapulted us for the rest of this. It really carried us through the rest of the season, and it sets the stage for next year. You know, it's like when you have that student or that athlete that struggles, and then shows you they can do it one time. You say, now that I know you can do it, I want it like that every time. Well, we know our fans can turn out. You know, those weren't fans coming from New York and LA. Those were fans right here in Baton Rouge, right here in this area that came back for that one game and saw a pretty good team play some basketball that continued playing basketball the rest of that year. There's no reason why those fans can't come out and show support every Saturday, every Monday, you know, next year, if we're going to put that good a product on the court.
No, I'm with you. And basketball, even more so than football for you, is a real windows to your program because of the contract with CST, where you get a lot of games on TV.
Exactly.
And it's great. Okay, before you go, 2013-2014 school year. I know you'd love for some major corporate sponsors to come through with some major checks, or even some small ones. And anything else on the horizon? Any great, scheduling things that we need to know about? Or?
We did a tremendous job last year, I think, as a department, increasing our corporate support. We increased our number of corporate sponsors from 11 to 36. Did a lot more recognition elements in the football stadium that we're going to expand to baseball and to basketball this year. So we're excited about that. But great home schedule, 5 home games this year. Starting on September 14th with Prairie View, ending with a good battle of the bands, nice HBCU matchup in Clark, Atlanta, on November 16th before we head down and play the Bayou Classic. But season tickets are on sale. You can call the ticket office 771-3171.
Shameless.
Oh, absolutely shameless, unabashed. The website is gojagsports.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Contact me directly. And anyone who wants to support the program in any way, know about ticket promotions, anything like that that's going on. More than happy to share that information with folks and get more people engaged and involved. But really excited about the year. In addition to the championships we won last year, we had a number of runner-up finishes that people just sort of gloss over. But runner-up finish in women's basketball, runner-up finish in women's bowling, in addition to the championships in tennis, the Western Division in baseball, and in basketball. So we had a strong athletic year this year, and we want to continue building that momentum moving forward. And really think our fans are going to have a lot of really good things to see this year, building on momentum from 12-13.
It's awesome. I feel the enthusiasm. It's good for us as a community when Southern University sports are really good in addition to LSU sports, and so it's really good. Thank you so much for coming to visit.
Sure. Appreciate the opportunity.
Good. I really appreciate it. When we get back, Scott Rabelais, the sports writer and columnist from The Advocate, will join me. William Broussard, thank you. Thank you for hanging in there. We'll be right back after this break on Sports 225. And I could have mangled my words worse, but it would have been hard.